The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Boyd's ATA Black Belt Academy in Marrero, Louisiana. Barreto Home Solutions. Bayou Audio and Video. Hot Works on the North Shore. JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington. Lil Dizzy's Cafe. Kuman of Gretna. Kaylin Parker of Magnolia Wealth Strategies. Moe's Pizza. Buck's Snow Whiz. CC's Children Blocks. The Pierre Family in Lafayette, Louisiana. Leo Auto Glass. The Juber Family in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Dat Kitchen Restaurant in Chalmette, Louisiana.
Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB the Sports Guy. We got a good one for you all tonight at 7:25. We will have the head coach of the Brother Martin Crusaders, the one and only coach Mark Bonis, joining us. And as you can see, I got my guy with me, the one and only VK Jones. What's up, VK?
Hey, what's going on, folks? Like, tag, share, subscribe to the Hash It Out Show on all social media platforms. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and on YouTube every Tuesday and Wednesday night, 7 p.m. And go to JB the Sports Guy on YouTube, exclusive coverage of the Hash It Out Show game of the week.
That's right. You see all those games on the YouTube page of JB the Sports Guy. Let's get going, VK Jones. Right,
Yes,
quick.
sir.
Let's start with a big game between two national ranked teams that happened Friday night. Week 2 winner. I'm gonna tell you this. Under the lights, there was a tie. There was a tie for first. That's all I can tell you. And a little hint. The two guys on the screen were tied. I'll tell you that. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. But let's go into it, man. I think we saw one of the best games in the state, one of the best high school games ever played in the Superdome, one of the best finishes, one of the best change of events that happened. You can say so much, but Edna Carr comes out with an overtime victory over American Heritage, 24-17. John Johnson leads a 70-yard drive down the field with, I think, under a minute or a little bit over a minute. I don't think they had any timeouts. And Edna Carr kicks the game time field goal. John Johnson runs in the game-winning touchdown. Edna Carr defense holds American Heritage from scoring, and they win the game. Your thoughts about that game, VK?
Well, the defending state champs showed their true mettle on Friday night. They showed their true mettle and sent a serious message to the state that we are still the team to beat. For them to win a character game like they did on Friday night, a huge character game, knowing that they just been working there, you know what's all week to prepare, and especially a late game at that, And Carr possibility they could have suffered their first loss in over a year, but the fortitude, the perseverance of that team, making a huge play, causing a touchback, changing the whole ball game right there, and keeping Carr in it. And that Carr defense kept them in the ball game more than anything else, and making those big plays when they needed it. And then all of a sudden, here comes Carr coming down the field, and for the Cougars to knock down a 37-yard field goal at the gun to go to overtime. JB, I was thinking the same thing as you. When they knocked the field goal down, I'm like, I think Carr about to win the game. This is huge for them to do that. But for them to win a character game, they are definitely the team to beat, because now it ain't just the fact they're a team that can just maybe beat you to submission, but they can come up big in the clutch too.
George Peppers, your thoughts about Edna Carr defeating American Heritage Friday night?
Where do we start? Because VK took a lot of what I think, and look, we're in symmetry here. Listen, this was a absolute gut check for Edna Carr in a very big spot. National game against a highly ranked football team. 23rd, say what you want. It's a team that suffered a hiccup loss, but it's still a highly regarded team that was going to come in here if they would have played their best, and they played their best game. This was the typical two teams laid it out on the line. And for those of you that look, well, it was only 24-17. Was I think that was the final, right? 24-7, 23-17,
24-17.
24-17, 24-17. I mean, like, that ain't the best. Yes, it was. The way the game and the composition of the game played out, with Edna Carr stroking that field goal at the gun, both teams laid it out there in that Caesar Superdome turf. And the car showed a lot of metal. They were all but the one point of contention. They are always going to be the team to beat in the state of Louisiana, and the car. Friday was a statement that, hey, look, we play pretty good football here in the boot. We do. And American Heritage found out that this Louisiana team wasn't going to just roll over and lay dead. No, sir. And both teams laid it out there on the line Friday, and it was a great football game. One of my friends, coworkers, went to the game. He's like, you missed it. And I'm like, well, I know, I read the recap. It's like, saw video highlights. It's like, man, I want to hear it. And then he was taking, he was talking about, but I went to a funeral Friday, so I couldn't go. And, but, Edna Carr showed you what they were about. I still think there's a couple of teams in this state that can line up with them and give them heck for 48 minutes. One of them is your alma mater, VK, St. Augustine, and the other is Baton Rouge Catholic. I think those two teams, if they run into them, they're going to get resistance from those two teams at some point this year. All in the Catholic League, and Catholic probably in the playoffs, if it's what we think it will be, 1 to December. We'll see. But we got a long, and I saw a comment. We're already into week 3, and before you know it, we'll be in the dome, the three of us, finishing up prep football. Look, I'm enjoying this too much. I want to hear this week 2, week 3 in the books and all that stuff. We having too much fun, the three of us.
Look, let's get into this game right quick. I mean, man, that D line from American Heritage, they put a beating on that Carr O line. They put a beating on that Carr O line.
Yes, they did.
They had speed all over that field, especially American Heritage. They were fast, man. They were fast. John Johnson took a beating. He took a beating as well. But you got to credit Carr's defense for keeping them in that game. And you got to credit Carr for making some big-time plays to help keeping them in the game as well. But, the kicker's getting a lot of credit. John Johnson's getting a lot of credit. But somebody ain't getting enough credit, because I believe if this player doesn't make this play, Edna Carr doesn't win that game. And that is Aiden Hall forcing the fumble at the 1-yard line after American Heritage. I can't remember the guy's name. Had a 30-yard rush from the 31-yard line.
I think it might have been Bueno, the running back.
Okay, maybe it was Bueno. Aiden Hall runs him down, strips the ball, and the ball goes through the back of the end zone for a touchback. That to me is the biggest play in that game because American Heritage would have went up double digits by 10 if they make that score right then and there. They would have won that game, in my opinion, because I think that game was over with. But credit Aiden Hall. That was the biggest play of that game, VK.
I agree. I mentioned that, and I'm glad you mentioned the name and everything. Aiden Hall, I mean, he's a big play man, and he probably made maybe the biggest play for Carr early in this season. I mean, that is huge for them. And then also you credit also, yeah, the offensive line was getting whipped, but the one thing I noticed at some point, and we seen it in the Shaw game, when there's a side somewhere when they're tired, cause start to neutralize, and you start seeing the runs start to open up, the holes start to open up. You know what I'm saying? This offensive line does need work, but at the same time, when it comes down to it, when they need to make a play, and the running backs make a play, and the quarterback, that line steps up, man. Because somewhere, somehow, somebody on that line gets tired, and give credit to Coach Bryce Brown. They find that weakness and they go neutralize it. So that's the biggest thing I noticed. Yeah, they was getting whipped. But when it came down to the clutch, that old line did what they needed to do and made some huge blocks when they needed timing on it. But I tell you one thing, man, it's like I said, character win for Carr. And and I think now more than anything else, it's a great sign. Now Carr starting to know how to win close games. So it's almost like Catholic saying, "Oh, gotta be on your game because this team might find a way."
George Peppers, your thoughts about the
You,
strip from Aiden Hall?
yeah, when you brought that up, I was like, my goodness. Again, symmetry. If Aiden Hall doesn't make that play and American Heritage goes up 2 scores, I don't know if Carr's built to withstand that and come back. I think that game would have been close to in the books. And with the way that the trench battle was not working for Carr, their O line was getting absolutely eviscerated against a very fast and talented D line from American Heritage. Those guys, they've got 2 L's in their book, but guess you best believe when we flip the calendars here to playoff time down in Florida, they're gonna show up and they're gonna show out at some point. But what I think, I mean, that was obviously the momentum turner, Aiden Hall stripping. Because if that don't happen, like you said, JB, that's a 2 score deficit. And Carr's offense, yeah, they got speed, but they had speed to match them defensively. I don't think they come back in that game. And it's not a slap at Carr. Really, I'm not saying it that way. But I don't know if they would have withstood that. This was a team that gave them a hell of a punch. And if they would have escaped that fumble and kept it, would have been we're talking about a different result. But one thing, I don't have the schedule in front of me, and it's sometimes what about a carryover? They got physically whipped last week. Now the competition. I don't know who they get this weekend in the car off the
35.
top
They're
of my
down to
head.
35. They're down to
35.
35.
Okay, 35 on their best. I don't think they could stay. I don't know if they could stay on the field with this car team, but I want to see how Carr reacts off such a game like that. The high of winning, and but really knowing that they understand they have a little bit of work to do, going forward. They are still the team to beat in Division 1. I don't think there's any question. Friday told me nothing else. All it did was validate. That's it. All it did was it validated that.
All right. I want to talk about this because this was the most talked about national um ranked game for Louisiana team since I believe 2006 with Joe McKnight and John Curtis going to Hoover.
Mhm.
And you can start to compare the two if you want. Um, Curtis was higher ranked than Edna Carr. Hoover was number one. American Heritage ranked also. Um, some people would say which one had a more defining meaning, and y'all could debate that amongst yourselves. And I'll ask y'all what y'all think about it. But this is my thoughts on it. Here's my thoughts. I believe that John Curtis went over Hoover really put Louisiana on the national high school football map. I really think that's what got other states' attention to saying, like, oh man, Louisiana, they got some players. They got some talent. I think that started it. That went over Hoover. I think this win for Edna Carr over American
Yeah.
Heritage solidified the fact that we have Louisiana teams that can play with teams from other states. And also remember, Edna Carr wasn't the only team to play an out-of-state team this past weekend. 8 other schools from Louisiana played out-of-state teams, and guess what? Louisiana went 9-0, didn't lose one. Curtis went play somebody week 1 in California. They won that game. So it says a lot about Louisiana football. But to ask y'all, which one out of the two means more to y'all? VK.
Um, you know, this car American Heritage was something else in itself. It's been a while since Louisiana has had success against out of state teams, and for that particular night, and not just that, for those particular 2 weeks, 10-0 total. Amazing. Probably the best year the state has ever had against out of state teams. And it's amazing what it has done for it. But I still say the Hoover game not just set the tone, was one of maybe the big. That is definitely one of the biggest victories ever for Louisiana against an out of state team. There's no doubt, because Hoover was number one in the nation. Hoover was getting the notoriety. This was the this is
They
one of the
had their own
times when
show
social
on
had their own
ESPN.
show on MTV. It was on MTV, 2 days. And that was the time when social media was just getting started more than anything else. That's when MySpace was out. So think about it. We're going in the beginning of social media times. So when you look at that, you look at and also the beginning of reality shows too. So you look at what MTV did with their program, Hoover, big time program. When you look at the stories and everything on and off the field, great show. But then on top of that, when you look at how Hoover is, when you look at the highlights, all that stuff, I'm like, this is a good program. It's a really, really good program. But all of a sudden, when John Curtis came over there, and we knew how good Curtis was, man, for them to a tight game until the fourth quarter, and for Joe McKnight to basically did what he did and solidify not just Curtis, but solidify himself as one of the best players, not just in the state, but in the nation. That was a historical night in itself. And I still tell anybody in this day, John Curtis did their thing, but I'm sorry. That dude right there, Joe McKnight, beat Hoover by himself. By himself. And that's just a fact. But I still think to that day, Curtis and Hoover was a big, huge historical win in the state of Louisiana.
George Peppers.
You never want to be a prisoner of the moment, and people want to be reactionary in this day and age of social media, as VK talks about, and say car, car, car. But flashback again, 19 years ago, 2006. You guys mentioned, you said all the superlatives. They had their own show. They won a ton. They score. They put the fear of God in a lot of teams that they played. This was an intimidating team, and they were in front of John Curtis in that ball game until, as VK mentioned, the fourth quarter. And I'm not going to steal lines, but there's a great line on NFL Red Zone. Fourth quarter, here's where teams win and teams lose. I forget the verbatim, but it was money time. And Joe McKnight said, "You know what, boys, we're not leaving here with the L. We're going to go get this win," and they did. He was a wrecking crew in that fourth quarter, and I don't think Hoover knew what to do. I think for me, that's the game that set the standard. And people say about Evangel de La Salle, but Evangel showed up and they got blasted. That night against the team out of Cali. But and a lot of your younger folk, and nothing against younger people, but they're going to say Carr if you ask them this question. They got to appreciate what John Curtis in 2006 did. That team was silly good. They just crushed people, and they went to Hoover knowing they were going to have to play a 48-minute game in that house. And Hoover and the cameras were there, MTV and all the media, all that was there, and John Curtis was behind, and they found a way, and Joe McKnight said, "Strap on, boys, let's roll," and got them home. To me, that's the standard bearer game for the state of Louisiana, and nothing against Carr, but you don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. Carr beat a very good team, but that team. The other question you want to say, and I know it's different eras, 19 years apart. What would American Heritage do against Hoover? Look at the compare and contrast. That's the thing I would want to see. Would that American Heritage team beat Hoover? Guess what? I think they could because of their
Yeah,
speed and
I
their
think so
size.
too.
Hoover, Hoover was fast, but they weren't very big. They didn't have a lot of corn. I say corn fed, and that's a term in the country they use in the skirts. They didn't have big boys like 320, 330.
I don't know
I
about
say
that,
American.
brother.
I think
I don't
American
know about
Heritage
that.
beat them.
No,
They
I
were
don't know.
big, but they didn't run like American Heritage. VK. That's what I'm
They,
getting at.
right. They
They were
might
big
not
and
have the
fast.
speed. They might not have this. They might not be. They might not have the speed as American Heritage. I'm gonna definitely say that. But Hoover had some boys, and I'm talking
Yeah,
about big
dude.
boys,
I'm not
big
questioning their
dogs.
talent. I'm not questioning their talent. That's not at all what I'm
I'm not. I'm
saying.
not. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying you are. You said something about they're not as
There you go
big.
again, Jerry.
Oh, they were humongous. And then on top of that, you look at where Hoover played at. They played their games at the Hoover Met, the home of the SEC baseball tournament. They turned that thing to a football field. So that's how big Hoover. But their team, nice out. But I ain't gonna lie, the speed of American Heritage, it would be some trouble for Hoover. I definitely agree with that. Because
All right.
if they couldn't handle John Curtis speed, I don't know how they gonna handle American Heritage.
I don't think they would have been able to. I don't think they would have been able to. But you know, two special teams, two special moments, and then like I said, Louisiana went 9-0 against out of state teams this past weekend. We know John Curtis won in week 1, and our special guest coming up in a couple minutes. They're going out of state this week to play a team in Mississippi. So maybe the wins keep stacking for Louisiana, man. We hope so. We hope so, man. But it was a great showing for the state last week, not just from Edna Carr, but from West Monroe, from Iowa, from Ruston, St. Edmunds, to name a few. I can't remember everybody, but 9-0 against out of state teams. Man, that is unbelievable for the state of Louisiana. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, the head coach of the Brother Martin Crusaders football team, Coach Mark Bonis, will join us right here on the Hatch It Out Show.
Are you in need of a new windshield? Leo Autoglass can help. For 20 years, Leo Autoglass have been servicing the New Orleans area with windshield replacement and auto glass repair. Give them a call today, 504-301-8353.
Hey y'all, this is Jen Hale from Fox Sports. You're watching the Hash It Out Show with JB the Sports Guy, VK Jones, and George Pepis.
Did you experience storm damage from Hurricane Francine? Barretto Home Solutions can help. You can give them a call at 504-940-7552.
And welcome back to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB the Sports Guy, with VK Jones and George Peppers. As you just saw, the two Hash It Out Show game of the weeks will be this Thursday and this Friday. With Thursday, we have Patrick Taylor hosting St. Martin's, pregame at 6:15, game time at 6:30. And this Friday night, we have the Terrebonne Tigers hosting the St. James Wildcats. with pregame at 6:45, game time at 7 o'clock, which you can catch right here on the YouTube page of JB the Sports Guy. Now, our special guest, he is the head coach of the Brother Martin Crusaders, the one and only Coach Mark Bonis. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Doing great, Coach. Doing
Wonderful.
great. We're happy to
Appreciate y'all
have
having
you.
me. Appreciate y'all having me on tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're just thankful that you're able to join us. Let's get right to it, Coach. I always ask every coach who's a guest on our show this question: what was it that made you decide that you wanted to be a football coach?
I'll tell you, I actually had that conversation today. It had to do with my high school experience with my staff, with our coaching staff, as well as my college playing experience with the staff there as well. Our high school coaching staff. I went to Jesuit High School. I played for Mark Sonji. He had a great staff there. They were an extension of your family, right? They're an extension of having more father figures in your life, not just at home, but also that took an interest in you, not just with football, but also with the things you were doing in school. And then I was fortunate enough to play for Jeff Bauer at Southern Mississippi, and it was unbelievable what he did in creating a family environment within the young man in his program, but also with the coaching staff and their families. So I was blessed to be a part of those things, and I wanted the impact that they made on me. As a young man, I wanted to have that same type of impact on young men today or in the future.
Okay. You played East Ascension in week 1. You played St. Paul's in week 2. Two tough teams. What were the biggest improvements you saw from week 1 to week 2?
Well, that was the big goal, right? And everybody talks about that is improving from week 1 to week 2. So going in week 1, I thought we did some really good things. We actually had some touchdowns scored back, so it was a close game. And our young men fought through a lot of adversity. But we did clean some things up from an offense standpoint from week 1 to week 2. But I can tell you this: still in week 2, we left a lot of points out there. Right? We had to settle for 3 field goals in the St. Paul's game. So just in that regard, we left 12 points out there in my mind. Right? So just from that part, from an offense standpoint, which I'm speaking of that because, hey, that's the strong part of the beginning of the season this year, with a lot of guys coming back from our offense. Our receiving core, a lot of those guys are 3 and 4 year starters. Our backfield, or our running back room, it's a really good room. We went through some growing pains last year to establish the room, but it's a lot of guys returning. We have a lot of guys returning after that. And our offensive line, and even though they're young, they've been playing for a year or 2 years. So for me, expecting big things out of them, I don't like inefficiency, right? Inefficiency for me, and that those are things with third down inefficiency at times, where it was really fourth down. Like we didn't convert a fourth down. We left points out there. So there's still a long way to go. But I thought being an RPO team or a timing based team, I thought we were a little bit more in sync offensively from week 1 to week 2. We were able to get to be a little bit more fast paced. We were always no huddle, but our tempo picked up. I thought we were better there. And then from a defensive standpoint, struggled a little bit week 1. East Ascension ran right at us. And we struggled a little bit right there. We made some good halftime adjustments. Our defense pitched a shutout in the second half. But hey, that's what's great about pre-district play is that, hey, they were able to find some weaknesses of things that, hey, this is what we've always done. This is how we've had success. But they attacked those things. So we had to make some adjustments in the second half, and we made some adjustments from week 1 to week 2 within our defensive scheme. And then the thing that I'm really excited about is our special teams as a whole. I thought we played very well week 1. And, and then from a special team standpoint, I thought we improved tremendously from week 1 to week 2. And that's without our starting kicker has been injured. So he's able to kick field goals. That's kind of what he's been limited to. But we've been doing things with a guy that's kicking extra points, guys that's kicking off, punting. So we've kind of spread out the duties, which isn't always, which is tough at times. But our guys have handled the adversity well. And look, the big thing in our district, and these 3 games prior to district, you know what you're getting in within a district, right? It's a gauntlet, and it's always been kind of our mindset is that you better have depth going into district, and if not, you better somehow try to establish it. And so that's what these 3 games are for us. It's, hey, trying to identify, looking at how teams are attacking us, what are our weaknesses, and making sure we're improving those weaknesses, making sure you're crisp in what you're doing, right? If you know who you are and you're sound in what you do, you're playing your style of football. But then if there's weaknesses, fixing those weaknesses, and then also along the way, like I said, creating depth.
You spoke about facing adversity. You were down to East Ascension. You were down to St. Paul's. You guys came back. You have to be extremely proud of the way your team answered it and fought it so early in the season.
That there's no doubt about that. I was talking about that as well today. Those kind of results or those kind of things that happen in the beginning of the season, to come away with a victory and facing that adversity goes a long way towards the end of the season. And then in order for you to make that playoff run, you're going to find yourself in those situations. So it's always good to be able to point back to those things and say, hey guys, we've been here before. This isn't something that we can't handle. So it's definitely, it's great to learn those lessons, and it's better to learn those lessons after a win. And we've been blessed. Our young men, you're right. After the East Ascension game being down 22-9, like I said, it's probably the most amount of adversity I've seen a team overcome and win in that respect. And I was so proud of our guys there. And look, that type of game that you play can take a lot out of you going into week 2. So I'll tell you, we pushed in week 2. And because we were really looking for that tremendous amount, or that tremendous amount of improvement, we saw it. But hey, there's still a lot of things to clean up. I really can't wait to finish this week of practice and to go travel and see what kind of improvement we've made, from week 2 to week 3.
You talk about traveling, and we mentioned earlier that you guys are going out of the state to take on New Hope High. What is it that you've seen on film that impresses you?
8-win team last year. So they are man, they've had a lot of success here here recently, and it's going to be what we're going to see in the district. It's great offensive line play, okay, with great speed at the skill spots. And then defensively, same type of thing. They're very multiple, and it's speed in at the second levels and the third levels with a lot of multiplicity. So we're going to see a lot of things. We're going to see athleticism. And the team is very, very well coached. So we're excited about the opportunity. I'm a big person that, especially early on in the season, wants to get on the road, right? Like, you want to see this, you want to be able to face this type of adversity. And the other thing it does, that when you go on the road, brings your team closer together.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of what I talk about, like with this trip. It's a business trip, but on this business trip, you really have to identify who you are. What is your why, right? And it kind of gets you. It pulls you away from everybody. So the only guys that you have to depend on are the guys on this road. It's a 4.5-hour trip. All right. And so in that time, it brings guys together. Okay, what's your why? And then, hey, you identify, you bring these guys together. You identify what's your why. You sit there and you have a sense of urgency to that why. We always talk about finding your purpose. So it's that purpose, and finding that sense of urgency towards that purpose. So to me, this trip, it's always a big trip for us when we go out of town. Not to mention, prepares you in case you have to go to Northern Louisiana, okay, in the playoffs, which we've had to do before. So, you want to have done that early in the season by taking that 4-hour trip or 5-hour trip and making sure your guys can handle it. And then, hey, you got to make the notes. You got to take the notes down. Hey, this is what we handled well. This is what we didn't handle well. And not have that happen the first time, in the second or third round of the playoffs. So it's for us, I love it. Plus it gets you out of the state to see like just other places. I think that's important for our guys to experience different. We're blessed. We're able to sit here and play in City Park. And look, a home game and away games, it's still at Tag Only Stadium. So that's a good thing, but I think it's also a negative thing for our young men. Right, they don't get to sometimes go out there and experience different places, So going out there and experience a different environment. I know this from talking to people. The whole town's going to shut down. Everybody's going to be there. That's the true Friday Night Lights. That's the experiences you want to be able to provide for them.
Definitely. Go ahead, VK.
Coach Bonis, man, how are you, man? It's good to have you on.
Thank you. I'm doing well.
Great.
Well. How about you?
I'm doing good, sir. Doing good. Got to ask you this about your offensive weapons. We know about how big of an impact Easton Raw and also Rex LeBlanc is, but how has been the big step up this year for your improving quarterback Hudson Fields, and then the kicking game with Maximo Berrios?
Well, I'll tell you this. This is like I told you about depth earlier. The receiving core for us is 4 guys. Is you mentioned obviously, Easton, obviously his success speaks for itself. But you have Rex LeBlanc, then you have Brody DeMonte, you have Rowan Lipscomb. All of those guys have potential to play at the next level. Then in the backfield, you have you have Julian Cutter, who's been playing for us since he's a freshman. He'll be a 4-year player. You have Jack Melanson, who's a junior, who's a track guy. We have Jeremiah, who's a junior. Sorry, Jack's a senior. Jeremiah's a junior. He's a track guy. And we're putting him all over the place. You have Luca Ascani, and Colton Elliott. All these guys, we are it's a good problem to have. Okay, we're sitting there trying to spread the ball out to make sure all these guys get touches. They all have something. They all have something to offer to the offense. What's been really fun about it is that we're having these guys play multiple spots. So we're moving them around, to guys that are running backs are playing receiver, playing tight end spot. It's really been fun kind of hiding them, moving them. And look, and speaking of Easton, what's been great about him is that speaks so much about him. Obviously, his playmaking ability speaks for itself, but he takes just as much pride in blocking for his teammates or being a decoy for his teammates. That has been that to me. When college coaches, look to see what he's done on the field, that's great. But when you look at those other clips, when other guys are making plays, and he's a reason because of what he's doing as a decoy, because what he's doing on the perimeter, that to me, the whole offensive skill group has been selfless, and they're all playing for one another. That has been what has been special. That's an awesome thing to see when guys are sitting there pulling for one another and genuinely pulling for one another. And then, like you said, Max Barrios, he's been great as a field goal kicker. We're excited to get him back full time. He's only been kicking field goals, and he's been great for us there. But the things that he can do as a kicker, both as a punter and kickoffs, we're excited about that. I can't say enough, but the biggest thing for me, the biggest takeaway is the selflessness of the offense. The guys that are pulling for one another, playing for one another. When you have that, okay, and you have guys that are coachable and are playing for one another. Look, you may leave every night we're leaving here. You're tired. You're tired from the day, right? The school day, then coaching, and you're coaching your tail off. But I can tell you this: well, I'm excited to come back in the morning, right? Hey, what can we do to get better? It makes it fun. And look, you're creative, trying to be creative. Getting all your guys, especially the ones that are working, you want to get them touches, and it's and you want to see them reach their ceiling. And so it's been really fun because of that thing, or that quality within the group, is that they're really been playing for one another and pulling for one another.
Awesome weapons, coach. Really, really good. Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Talk about a couple of your defensive stalwarts that's been really stepping up for you and helping the Crusaders be 2-0.
Sure. Yeah. So from the first, kind of working from the first level back, Jacques Earhart's been a tremendous player for us. He's a guy that will play at the next level. He's for us, he's an outside linebacker. We call him a Sam. He's shown the ability to play an inside backer. He's gone to Tulane camp and a couple other camps and has run a 4.5. So he's a guy that plays on the tight ends, but can sit there and play in space. And he is a tremendous athlete. He gives us, especially when you're looking at defensive play, those guys you're looking for are the guys that can play multiple spots, right? And can do and can be athletic. So he's a guy that's very multiple there on the front, as an outside linebacker. Our inside linebackers, Trent King is a guy that's been playing for us, and Alex Diaz has been a great team player. He played running back for us last year, and so we moved him to create a little bit more depth at the linebacker spot. So him and Chance Ross has been another inside linebacker. Those three guys in the core of the 3-4 have been great. The guy that I cannot speak enough of is Brady McCluskey, baseball star for us. But he's a guy that and the name I'm going to mention right here, he's kind of that alpha dog. We haven't really had an alpha dog here since Rod Teamer. He's kind of got that mindset. He's got the flexibility to play multiple spots like Jerron Manning, who's at Mississippi State. So Brady McCluskey can play safety. He can play a free. He can play a strong. He can play outside linebacker. He can play inside backer. And you look at him, he's not overly big dude. He's not an overly big guy, right? If he were 2 inches taller, 3 inches taller, people would be banging down his door. But I can say this: he lays the pie out. He's coming down. He's got bad intentions. I mean, he does. And watching him play, I mean, it's invigorating. He is the old school mindset guy. He's smart, but man, he's got it. You know, he's got that X factor. Then you have Caden Goodman. Can't leave him out. Caden Goodman's been a 4-year starter for us, right? Caden is a guy that's played corner for us, can play free. He's a guy that truly leads by example. He's a track guy as well. And look, I hate leaving guys out. That's a hard thing because it is a team. Our offense and defense, we pride ourselves on being team oriented. But those are the guys, from the in the first level, defensive linemen. You have Brandon Henry, Hayden Patterson, Grant Baglio. Those guys have really done a good job for us. What I can tell you that front has done, the front that I just talked about and the backers, because of how EA exposed us early in the first half of that first game, we had to change some things. And I can tell you this, talking about coachability earlier, they have responded well and have adjusted well to a lot of the changes that we've made. And that's not always easy. Think about this. You're sitting there, you're training something all year long. And man, in the first week, you're like, man, we've got to do some things to adjust because we're not as big as we've been, right? And like in a week's at halftime, and then a week's time, our coaching staff did a great job of making adjustments and came together to add more tools to the arsenal. And our defense has responded very, very well. And to me, that speaks, first of all, my coaching staff being willing to change. I mean, you've heard people talk about, well, hey, we've had success and we've always done this. Well, just because you've always done something doesn't mean it best fits you all the time, right? So our coaches were willing to change and be flexible and have made some adjustments. We still do what we do, but there's some more things that we're doing. And then to have your young men be able to grasp it and then execute the way they have in about a week and a half, I'm really proud of the coaches and the players for being able to do that.
Coach, you always take life seriously and everything else. It's my last question. I'm gonna pass it to George. Yourself, you recovered years and years ago from a heart procedure and everything.
An aortic dissection, yes, sir.
Aortic dissection, yes. But then all of a sudden, years and years later, your teammate and friend Marcus Scott had to go through a kidney transplant.
Yes.
And now he's recovered very well. And with that, inspired Destrehan great Jai Eugene to finally get a kidney transplant. And he got that as well. What are your thoughts of how coaches like yourself and Coach Scott and also Coach Eugene taking things seriously for their health to get themselves together so they can just live on for years and years to come?
Unfortunately, as coaches, you're doing this. And I would say a lot of coaches say this, and I encourage them to, and it's not just coaches, it's people that are really swamped in their in what they're doing. We're a lot of times we're trying to be servant leaders, right? And we're trying to take care of everybody else. And unfortunately, when you're doing that, a lot of times you don't take care of yourself, right? So the first thing that I sit there and tell everybody is the fact that in order for you to be able to help others, you got to first take care of yourself. So that's the first thing. Like, especially I guess as a former player, like you're in the day and age that we all kind of grew up in, you don't go to the doctor, you don't do things, you kind of fight through it, right? You sit there and you tough things out. So I can say this: in 2019, when everything happened to me, it was after I had pain, and it was lower back pain, right? That's what I thought I had, and so I was going to get an MRI the next week at Tulane. There was no way that I was missing practice. There was no way I was missing anything for a little bit of lower back pain. Well, thank goodness I listened to my wife, and I wound up going to the doctor probably 2 or 3 days too late. But if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be here today. So first thing is that all of us, we all need to listen to our bodies, first and foremost. And then secondly, when something like that happens to you, I know Marcus feels the same way. Obviously, what we think is important, football is really important, right? To me, right? To my family. I don't really have any other hobbies. It's taking care of our young men here, taking care of my family at the house. But sometimes we have to sit there and really look and see what is important. And I can sit there and tell you, and Coach Saban has talked about it, about the type of coaching, are you a situational coach or whatever? You got to really sit there and look at things and know. And this is how I've always felt like this, but it really brought me to understand what is the priority, what is important. Well, at the end of the day, we want to win football games, but and we've always talked about this, but focusing on the betterment of young men, improving young men. Like I think when you go through something like that, your priorities, you want to win football games. You're doing this because you're competitive. But look, if you take care of all that other stuff, the success is going to happen, right? And so for me, when you go through, when you go through those types of things, it kind of brings you back down to earth. I'm a person that has 10, 20 plans, right? Or used to. Hey, we're going to have a plan for this. We're going to have a plan for this and a plan for this. When I was going through my rehab through everything, I guess I had a lot of time with by myself walking. I would sit there and kind of chuckle because at the end of the day, you can sit there and have plans, but guess what? At the end of the day, there's only one person's plan that matters, and that's the good Lord above.
Yes.
So you sit there and hey, it's great for you to be prepared. It's great for you to have a plan, but you also have to be flexible. And you also have to sit there and prioritize and know what's important. We're going to take care of our young men. At the end of the day, this is a saying, from one of our founders, for Father Andre Quandra, for the founders of the Brothers of Sacred Heart. His big saying is, when you've done all you can, you've done all you must. Okay, and that's kind of the thing that when I come to school, okay, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can for our young men here. And I know Marcus feels the same way, and I know Marcus going through something like that. I know it definitely makes you kind of check yourself a little bit and make sure you have prioritized things. But because of that, that's because of what has happened. It really has brought me down to earth and has made me reprioritize things. That, hey, what is important in what we're doing? And then let's make sure that we're doing all we can to reach those priorities. And look, you're going to fall short. We're human, right? And we can pray about doing those things, and we may fall short, a whole bunch. But you come back, you wake up, and you try to do it again. And that's I always tell you, people give me a hard time about talking about the process. That's what the process is for me. That's what the process is for our young men, is sitting there. We want to be the best version of ourselves. I want to get the best out of all of our young men. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be, sometimes that's tough love. It doesn't mean you're sitting there, but you do whatever it takes to make sure you're having your young men become the best young men that they can be. And so that's the things that I've gone through, the things that I know Marcus has gone through. I think it helps to really have you prioritize what's important and makes you put things in perspective. I have definitely become, since everything that's happened to me, I've become a better family man with my kids. I've become a person who's been better able to balance my priorities in my life as opposed to football. And I think that's important. I think that's important for all of us to do within all of our professional lives.
George Peppers.
Coach Bonis, first off, thank you for joining us on our 250th episode of the Hash It Out Show. It's a great pleasure to have you on, man.
Well, thank you so much. It means a lot.
Thank you. First question. Let's talk about the strength of this Catholic League. For a couple of years now, we've had this debate of which league is the strongest in the state. Based on the results of the first 2 weeks, and there have been some eye poppers, John Curtis, and we'll steal your term, put the pie out on Cathedral a couple of weeks ago. You guys winning against East Ascension and St. Paul's, Rummel beating University in the first game of that doubleheader, and of course Jesuit winning their game in Texas, and then Clark capping it off. Is there any doubt that the Catholic League is the best league in the state based on the results of the first 2 weeks and based on the wins that they've achieved?
Look, I'm in a good mood right now. You're trying to get me. You're trying to make me depressed over here, having to talk about the competition.
I can't do
that. The competition we're going to have to face in the next couple of weeks. But no, to me, I mean, it's look, everybody can sit there and compare and contrast, and there's always going to be those debates. All I can sit there and say, I can't speak for other districts, right? I can't because I'm not in them. I can tell you this. Going from week to week, this is what I can tell you.
Right.
When people can sit there and say, we'll compare our league. People sit there and make the old comparison. Hey, well, this is the SEC of high school football. Well, I know this. There's give me wins in the SEC. Okay. They're like what people can sit there and say there's not, there are give me wins in it. That in the SEC, hey, a team's gonna beat somebody. In this league, if you don't bring your A game, okay, guess what? Any given week, anybody can beat anybody. It's great. I love the competition. It definitely prepares you for playoffs. The couple of things that I wish would be a little bit different is the fact that is that I don't care who's in the district. I love the competition. My biggest concern is the fact of, and I've always talked about this, early 2000s, there was a movement because we have, let's say, 8 teams in our district. Some districts may only be 5 teams, right? When you sit there and compare a 9-team district to a 5-team district, okay, there's a difference in potential of 3 whole points in power points. Okay, so let's think about what we just said within the Catholic League. Think about the Catholic League's record right now. Okay, so if you would have only had 6 or 7 teams in the Catholic League, they would have had the ability to score more power points for the playoffs. Okay, then you add into the fact of, well, hey, it's a great league and you're beating everybody up, right? So you're getting out of the league and you're worn down, which I can deal with. But for me, it really comes down. And then on top of that, of those 8 teams that are in your district, you have 8 of some of the best teams in the Metro New Orleans area and the state. But for me, the league speaks for itself. I just hope there's a move because look, the goal of high school sports is, hey, you want everything on somewhat even playing field, so the best team comes out on top at the end. For me, I really hope it gets revisited of the fact of trying to make the districts as close to the same amount of teams as all the other districts. Of course, it's not going to be completely even, okay? But if you're only one team off in the districts, I think that's something that we really need to revisit. So I know that doesn't really necessarily answer your question completely. The first part, I mean, the district speaks for itself. It's just the bad thing, the negative thing is that because you have 8 teams in your district, man, we're all seeing one another in the playoffs again. So that's the other thing the other reason why I wish it was shaved down a little bit, maybe, 1 or 2, there's a revision there because we're all seeing one another. It's tough enough to see one another year in, year out that one another so well. And then when you have to play one another a second time in the playoffs, that's tough, And so I think the league's great. I love it. I love the competition. That's what I hope that they look at here within the coming up with redistricting and things of that nature. But I mean, it's if you are competitive and you are in this profession because you love competition, what better else teams to play? You're playing some of the best competition in the country when it comes to athletes with some of the best coaching, that there is to offer. So it's right now I'm sitting there raving about and saying how much I enjoy it. I don't necessarily feel like that every Sunday when I got to come in and game plan and go against these guys, right? Because everybody within the league does such a great job.
Game Friday night at New Hope High. How did this game come to pass when you guys were able to get them on your schedule?
It really came down to the fact of trying to find a game. Never want to. I know some teams like bye weeks. We never really like bye weeks. Not to mention our kids work 365 days a year, right? You don't ever I want them to have every opportunity to play a game. I mean, you have other sports that are playing a whole bunch of games in a season. When you think of baseball, you think of basketball. They're blessed to have all these games. In football, in regular season, the most you can have is 10. So I didn't want to shortchange our guys and not find a game. So then it just came to it's hard to find games outside of district, right? So we just found we found some teams that were advertising. we were trying originally to play the game at USM because what I wanted to be able to do is we're going to meet them halfway. We wanted to be able to showcase our talent, okay, our guys, have college coaches see our guys and they want to do the same thing. It fell through. It really that didn't come to fruition. They couldn't find the game, so we couldn't find the game. So that's really kind of how it came about. And so it's always for us. It's always tough to find a game. We were blessed to find this, kind of right in the beginning part of the summer. So we're really excited about taking the trip, like I said earlier, and it's gonna be a great matchup.
And the second part of that question, was it always a preference to play a team from out of state, based on the fact that you've tested yourselves pretty well the first 2 weeks at East Ascension at St. Paul's? Was it always a thought process to play a team out of state going on the road again?
For us, it was finding a trip. Like I told you, I do always like to take at least one trip to prepare yourself for the playoffs. I think that's really, really important. That is, if you do this trip, if you take a 3, 4, 5 hour trip for the first time in the playoffs, and I think you just don't know what you're going to get, right? I think when you do that early on in the season, like I said, we don't not necessarily just from your players. You got to make sure your coaches are able to handle things and we take care of things the right way. So I think it's a great learning experience. It's a great opportunity for us to make sure, hey, if we have to take a trip in the playoffs, that we have handled it well. We know how to handle it. We handle it well. So I think it's just a great learning experience. And then once again, it's the mindset of we always talk about, hey, our family, controlling your controllables, and everything kind of being within the family. You're about to go on a 4.5 hour ride, and you're going to go in a hostile environment. You have one group to depend on, and that's your group. That's on the 2 charter buses we take. That's it, and it's for me, that it's just bringing guys together. Maybe I'm old school. I just remember under Coach Sanji, we did the same things. And we always kind of took a trip. And hey, when it came time for us to take those trips, those hostile environment trips on the road in the playoffs, it served us very well.
We all know about Easton Royal, the football player, and his selfless nature. Tell us something we don't know about him as a person, as a young man.
Well, the part that you said, the thing is, it's the selflessness, but I think people know that about him. It's this is what people say, what sets him apart, and I kind of talked about it earlier. When you pride yourself on blocking on the perimeter, when you pride yourself on being a decoy, that speaks volumes. But then it's just things of this. I mean, he fits every coachism there is. Hey, first one in, last one leave. Everything that you could sit there, all those coaching sayings you could sit there and say about him. He's truly trying to perfect his craft. So as a football player, that's that. And then just his true, genuine concern, selflessness. Yes, it's a great term, but he wants everybody in that room to find success. Obviously, he wants his touches. He wants to do something. He wants to make a big play. But I mean, he has a genuine concern for his teammates. Which, let's face it, in today's standards, in today's world, that's not the sexy thing. That's not it. A lot of it's not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but it's a lot about me, 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 me. And when you see a young man of his caliber, and look, people have been asking me to compare, and I hate doing that. Especially since after I get on this, if I compare him to anybody, I'm gonna get all kinds of phone calls from former players of mine yelling at me, right? Oh, no. But I'll tell you this. He's a I hope not. I hope we see more guys like him at Brother Martin. But for me as a coach, and I've coached some real good ones, he's a once in a lifetime talent. And for me to be able to see that, okay, and to see how he treats his teammates, to see how he treats his family, that's why I believe, obviously he'll continue to have success with us. He'll have success at the next level, and we'll have the ability to have a tremendous amount of success at the level after that. So for me, it's just that, and it's just rewarding to see. Being at a Catholic school, seeing the type of person he is, I can't say enough about him. This is the best thing the best compliment that I could give Easton is that if my daughters, and this is what I tell college coaches, right? And so to me, this is the ultimate, the ultimate praise is that, my daughters are still young. They're still 12, right? But if they were of dating age, okay, and they were to be dating him, or if they like, he would be, I would love, he's that type of person. It would be acceptable for him to date my daughters. To me, that says all you need to about a young man's character, and the young man, the type he is, the type of person he is. I could sit here and there's not one negative thing I can say about Easton Royal. Y'all still there? Y'all kind of froze on me right here.
Oh, we good. We good. We were waiting on George, but that was George's last question. So
It's me.
you're good, George. Coach Mark Bonis. Look, we just want to thank you so much for taking time out your schedule to join us. We truly, truly appreciate it. And we want to wish you good luck this coming Friday against New Hope, and also throughout the rest of the season, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it.
Definitely, Coach. Thank you.
Coach.
Thank y'all so much.
Coach.
Thank you.
All right.
Coach Mark Bonis, ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Brother Martin Crusaders. And I met Coach Bonis for the first time. And he doesn't remember me that much until I got to, say, who I am and everything. And I'm not going to say all that. But he was the OC at Shaw in 2005. He was the OC at Shaw. And I always loved his offense. I always loved the offense he ran. And I still do to this day. And the weapons he got, I'll talk about him enough. I'll talk about Easton. I'll talk about Ron Lipscomb. I'll talk about Rex LeBlanc. He mentioned Brody Dumonche also. He got some weapons on offense that's going to make them dangerous, man. And, the offense, they're going to be explosive. It's going to happen. They're still putting things together this season, but they're finding ways to win. VK and defense, especially stepping up in these last two games, especially the Ascension game in the second half, not allowing a single point.
The defense has been very tremendous in the second half of both games this year. And, Coach Bonis wants them to step up a little more and have a little more consistency throughout the ball game instead of having a second half. The scary part about Brother Martin, they have not played a true full-quarter game yet. That's how scary this team is. And they are really proving themselves, overcoming things, and then some to get where they need to be. And you mentioned Ron Lipscomb, man. That's another good weapon they have. And you think about it, do you know who that is? The younger brother of Kalijah Lipscomb and Kobe Young.
Yep.
So he's the last of the Mohicans with him right there, because they also have a sister who plays volleyball at Cabrini. So this is the last one of the kids. Shout out to Miss Keisha, their mom. I'm sorry. That's not her mom. I'm gonna say the dad, Mr. Lipscomb. You know what I'm saying? So that's actually, Kalijah's little brother and also Kobe's little brother and the little sister. So last of the Mohicans, I can say. But Lipscomb is funny. He is a St. Aug graduate and wound up sending his boys Jesuit, Brother Martin. That's something else. But it's about the education more than anything else for Mr. Lipscomb. That's the most important thing. We had a bunch of conversation. He's a great guy. I'm saying that because, when I first met Mr. Lipscomb, it was the signing of Kalijah at Jesuit. And he basically introduced himself, him and the mother Kalijah and everything. I mean, it was a great conversation. And it was a big time understanding of the fact it's about the education. And I completely understood that. I'm not that person that's like, why you could have sent them. No, there's reasons why you send your kids to certain schools. And that's how I look at it. I'm a different person, JB. I'm not that person. So
I didn't say anything. George Peppers, your thoughts? Your thoughts about Coach Bonis and the job has done at Brother Martin, even getting to one state championship appearance. George?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Team that.
All right. All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna talk some more about some week 2 and a little bit of week 3. Y'all stay tuned right here on the Hash It Out Show.
At Bayou AV Security, we are your one-stop shop for all your needs, whether it's enhancing your home entertainment system, securing your property, ensuring a seamless internet connection, or illuminating your outdoor spaces. We've got you covered. Bayou AV Security, where technology meets reliability. Call us today to experience the Bayou difference.
JFK Martial Arts offers a wide variety of martial arts programs for kids, teens, and adults as they empower lives through martial arts. JFK Martial Arts offers a wide variety of martial arts programs for kids, teens, and adults as they empower lives through martial arts. Please give them a call at 985-266-0664 and don't forget to ask about their 1 week free special.
And welcome back to the Hash It Out Show. I'm JB the Sports Guy with VK Jones and George Peppers. Week 2 was fascinating, very, very fascinating. And we move on to week 3. But before we go on to week 3, what were some surprises that you saw that caught your attention? Start with you, VK.
Probably maybe one of the biggest comebacks we have seen early in the season with Lake Charles College Prep coming back from a double-digit deficit to beat Barb and beating a team that's been a big-time program in Lake Charles for LCCP to get it done and getting maybe one of the biggest wins in the history of the school. Getting that job done there, and that tells a lot for Coach Eric Franklin and his team. A lot of character. I know the defenses was not really bright at all, but the wherewithal and the perseverance of Lake Charles College Prep, because when I looked at the game and I looked at the score, I said, bruh, they down big. And I'm like, they came all the way back. All I'm going to tell you is this. If LCCP has some kind of consistency, they're a team that's not going to quit. Now, I'm going to say this. If they get better, they're going to be a problem in Division 2. They're going to be a problem, meaning a top team might get upset. That's what I'm saying, because of the fact of the matter is this LCCP team has been building and building and building and been closer and closer and closer. But we're going to see. The consistency's got to be there for LCCP. They tell you, if it's there, they're going to be a problem.
Yeah, Austin, that's one thing about GP. He is stubborn. He is stubborn. That's no lie. Trust me. That ain't no lie there, bro. You even see it, and you don't even be around GP like talk about it. That is him, man. That is him. GP, which team in the state was a surprise in your eyes?
That's a good question. I mean, you could go many different ways. I don't want to say this was a surprise because I regret not picking them, but Romo beating University. because they lost to them last year. I think it's a mild surprise. I think the other one is the game we did. Well, you did Friday night, St. James. Not that they won, but that they were so emphatic and on the road at Edgar. It's not usually an easy place to go win, but they went in there and put it on them at 56-6. Beat them like that. That was surprising. The margin of victory. I think that not that they won again. It's the fact that they thoroughly dominated that game and really just told you who's the haves and the have-nots down there in that area. And for West St. John, they got work to do. But, we look ahead to week 3 and more enticing matchups, of course. St. Augustine gets the Legacy this week.
Hold on, man. You're moving too fast. Hold on, man. We're going to get to week 3 in a second. Hold
All
on.
right, we
Wait a
will.
minute.
But I got to address this. These dudes are slandering me on the chat, talking about
Are they
episode
lying?
250.
Are they lying?
They are.
Are they lying?
No.
Okay.
Catchback's a swing back, though. Just saying.
Oh, yes, indeed. So Lake Charles College Prep was a surprise the way they came back. I did pick them to win that game, and when you saw the score, man, at 51-26 at halftime. Whoa! But I was going to get some food. It's Friday night. I was going to get some food. Well, yeah. Where were we Friday night again? West St. John?
West St. John.
Oh, this game, Lake Charles College Prep was Thursday. They were Thursday.
Yep.
This is after I dropped you off, VK.
Yes.
I went to get some food, and Jordan Taylor from Under the Lights called me. He said, "Man, you watching the Lake Charles College Prep game?" I said, "No." "Man, they still playing. They still playing. Go watch it, JB. I'll talk to you later." Trying to get my Jordan Taylor accent on, as you can tell a little bit.
I see that.
Yeah. When I cut
work,
it on my phone, it was 70-65. And Barb threw a Hail Mary incomplete, then threw another Hail Mary incomplete, game over. I was like, wow. But my other surprise is this, and I didn't see this happening. Prairieville defeating Parkview Baptist.
First year program.
Yeah. Now Prairieville 5A, up and coming, but Parkview got to be rebuilding this year. They have to be. Because we saw the Jamboree, we saw week 1, we saw week 2 with them losing to Prairieville. Even with that, I didn't think Prairieville would defeat Parkview Baptist, but they did. Shouts out to Prairieville on that win. Now let's go to week 3. VK, besides the Hash It Out Show games of the week, what are other games that have your interest?
Well, a lot of interesting matchups this week. George kind of mentioned it a little bit. I think the first big test for the St. Augusta Purple Knights Saturday against Legacy. A huge. You look at it, the Purple Knights has outscored their opponents like 112 to 12. That's amazing in the first 2 games. But now you're going against a really good program out of North Texas and out of North Houston, Texas, as we say. It's a good program in Legacy, and we're going to see what St. August made up on Saturday. The Battle of the Ninth Ward, and for the second time in over 15 years, the Battle of the Ninth Ward comes to Tag Gormley as Chalmette battles Holy Cross.
No, JT, you don't sound that bad, man. Chalmette and Holy Cross. Okay.
Chalmette and Holy Cross. That's another really good matchup. You got a whole bunch of real good matchups. I think ain't Edie White playing Hornville this week?
Edie White Hornville, yeah.
Also Destrehan Alexandria. And we cannot forget
he's adding games, George. He's adding games. He's at number 6. He's at number 6. Go ahead, man.
We can't forget about your alma mater. The Archbishop Shaw Eagles and the Archbishop Rummel Raiders. Megaphone Game 2025. Are you guys gonna take it home this year, baby? Is it coming back tomorrow, my brother? I know we might find out tomorrow, but I know you got that confidence in you, brother. I know.
George, I mean, I think he took some games from us that we wanted to say. But go ahead, George Peppers, what you got?
One of he actually, I mean, he
Uh,
could have went to the and said sorry. Popeye says sorry. You do what? Well, anyway, I'm just being messy. All right. One of the games VK mentioned of the many that he mentioned was one that I was waiting and I didn't think he would. Edie White at Hahnville. I think to me is one that I absolutely am looking forward to. Why? I want to see. I mean, Coliseum's team is going to be very good, forwardly placed. But Hahnville is a team. Greg Boyd's second year. They've made some tremendous strides. Great, had a great year last year. Have gotten off to a good start this year. Edie White licking their wounds from the loss 2 weeks ago. They bounced back. Um, this is a heck of a test. I think that game. And you mentioned St. Aug legacy. Okay, that because of the intrigue of can St. Aug keep the mantra for Louisiana perfect. And Brother Martin has that chance Friday night beforehand, going to New Hope. Um, but I think for me, JB, Edie White Hahnville is the game that I've got zeroed in on. Why? It's a territorial battle, but it's a battle that I think is going to be a 48-minute war, and it's going to be a fun game to track and see who wins it.
Okay. Um, we got quite a few games that's happening. Um, Franklin Parish at Calvary Baptist is one
Yes.
that has my interest. North DeSoto at West Monroe is another that has my interest.
wow.
Right here, pretty much, South Plaquemines at Bell Chase. Can South
Mhm.
Plaquemines finally get a win over Bell Chase? It's been quite some time. Can they finally do it? But here's one, guys, and it's a rematch of a state championship. St. Charles College Prep goes to Dunham. Can St. Charles put enough points on the board? And can Dunham's defense play some good defense on St. Charles? That's one right there.
You
Got
just
Elijah
said
Haven ready to do some work, but can Coach Stein have his team ready to go into Dunham and get the win?
St. Charles College Prep.
George, did I say St. Charles College Prep?
Yes, you
Yes,
did.
you
All right.
did.
Well, I'm
Yes, you
sorry.
did.
St. Charles Catholic. Excuse me. I apologize for that mistake. St. Charles College Prep. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Um, but we'll see what happens with
And to
that.
interject, you were trying to emulate Jordan Taylor. You sounded more like Brian Kelly, but that's another story.
Oh God, thanks. Anyway, all right, guys. So as you see, Austin Tyler has it here. Edie White is 0-2. So who do you guys think is the best 0-2 team out there? VK.
Whew. Man, that's a interesting question there. I can I'm gonna say between Edie White and Kentwood.
Edie
Edie
White
White and
and
Kentwood.
Kentwood.
Edie White
Okay.
and Kentwood.
All right. George Peppers, who's the best 0-2 team out there?
Hmm. That's a tough question because those 0-2 teams can win a lot of games going forward, you would think. But if I had to pick just one and put it to my head, I would say St. Thomas More.
There you go, George.
I would
We're
say
thinking
St. Thomas
alike
More.
right here.
I mean, because first of all, they lost to Karen Crow at home. Karen Crow didn't quite validate in week 2, losing to LCA in week 2, but STM lost again. I forgot who beat them. Um, but I think for me, St. Thomas More to me is the undoubted answer because I think that's a team once they start winning, it's going to be a steamroll.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that one. St. Thomas More. I think the same thing. Once they showed a lot of improvement against Catholic last week,
They did.
and they have Acadiana this week. I really think the ball is starting to roll for St. Thomas More, and they're about to get on the right track. Um, so as you saw, our good friend Cheese, he says we need to start picking LCA. I haven't picked LCA to win a game yet, and I'm definitely not picking on week 4. I'll tell you that right now. But
Huh.
Yes.
you guys have to be impressed so far with the way they are playing and the way they are finishing and how they finished against hold on, Karen Crow. Friday night, VK?
I'm gonna tell you one thing. LCA and Z Cheese. I'm gonna be real with you, dog. I got to give you props, my friend, early because LCA has stepped up and they have answered the bell so far. They have answered the bell, and who knows? Like we mentioned earlier in the season, maybe a possible last hoorah or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because of a lot of turnover at the school. So but I think this year they have really proved some people wrong, especially with the wins. And the scary thing about them, they're just like Brother Martin. They have not played a full quarter game yet. So LCA is a scary team that's continuing to get better and better. And so far I'm really impressed at them. Big props to LCA, Z Cheese, and the Knights out there, man. They're doing good.
Peppers.
I mean, I'm like Lafayette Christian. I'm very impressed. I had them as a semifinal team in our preseason picks. When we picked the semifinals and championships in each division, I've got
Me too.
LCA.
Me too.
I've got LCA, and I believed this team with the stability now, with all the turbulence that happened last year. Now they've had a whole off season to settle. They've gotten 2 character wins in a row. Rommel week 1 and Karen Crow, with the way that game manifested itself in the fourth quarter, they came back on the road in the Crow Dome and got the win. And that's a pretty tough ask to go to win one, let alone both. And they've done it. I think this is a team. Oh, here we go, Charles Allen. Sure you are. Yeah, buy a ticket, sir. That's now we're gonna take shots. I hear you, but no, LCAV,
They are rolling though.
JB.
They doing it. They doing
They
their thing.
are. They are. They've done some work. They've done some work. But for me, I'm not at all surprised with LCA. I think I knew with the stability that they've gotten in the offseason that they could focus on football. I don't think the focus was completely on football because of the coaching turnover and all the stuff that happened last year and all the off-field stuff that happened. I think now that the singular focus is let's get this program right. They've taken a couple of very good steps. Let's see what they do going forward. And about week 4, we'll see. We'll
Week
see.
4, we'll see. Right? I hear you, man. I hear you. Week 4, we'll see.
That
Yeah,
game, that's all.
the game is that short this year. Yep.
I got you. Okay.
Game is that
Cut the
short.
grass. Cut the grass, sir.
There you go all the time with cut the grass. We cut the grass, man. Just take your loss. I mean, when was that game played? When Ida hit? 2021? We're talking about 4
Yes.
years ago, man. Guys, man, you still crying about a 7-0
Oh no, no,
loss.
I'm just picking on
7-0
y'all.
loss. He like, they ain't cut their grass. Man, there he go.
Field turf is coming. I smell it. Field turf
That it is.
coming. I smell it.
I don't know. Y'all heard something? Y'all heard something? I didn't hear nothing on the field turf.
I
You ain't
didn't.
heard nothing yet. Well, I'm just hoping it happens for y'all because y'all have a beautiful stadium. Y'all have a beautiful stadium. Y'all really have done some work to make it become an official, really high school stadium. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving y'all props for that. I'm just hoping y'all get that field. But I know y'all keeping things up. I know y'all doing the best you can. But I'm hoping y'all get field turf. I really hope y'all do.
What's wrong with grass? What's wrong with grass?
Hey, everybody adjusted to the times, just saying. You won't have to worry about the rain and stuff
Everybody
like
want to say what Shaw need to get at their stadium. Da, 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 da. And I'll be like, okay, all you other Cali schools, y'all don't have a stadium. Yeah, mic drop. Bow.
Of course, the
Mic
mic
drop.
drop.
I mean, funny. I would be sitting
Yeah.
at the Shaw game, and then all these from other Cali schools that playing Shaw. Oh, the visitor side too small. Da, 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 da. And I said, they're like, we have phases. At Shaw, they have phases. They're still not done. They got phases. I think they're in phase 3 now, and I think they got 4 or 5 phases. They're not done yet.
I
And
think
they're
y'all.
like, y'all
I
don't
think
have a stadium.
y'all improved a lot on the visitor seats, anyways, bro.
See,
So it's a
there
lot
you
more
go,
bigger
right
than
there.
it.
There you go.
So
Y'all improved on the visitor seats. Oh my God.
no. I said it's improved. I didn't put you down. I just said that y'all have made improvements on the visitor seats. I'm giving y'all props, dog. How y'all been growing with y'all stadium? You know what I'm
And
saying?
all got a stadium.
I have
No,
not.
go ahead.
I did not beg. I'm not the one that begged on y'all stadium. Stop it, Jay. You know that, bro. I like what I see, and I keep telling. See, I'm standing up for y'all. I tell people all the time. There's a reason why Rommel and some of the people didn't get a stadium. Look at the situation Shaw is in. Shaw has enough land that they could do what they want to do. Everybody else got to deal with the neighbors, all this other stuff. the parish, all kind of politics. Call trying to get their own field, they building something to have their own stadium. They got to deal with the neighborhood in Orleans Parish. Rummel, they've been trying to get a stadium. They got to deal with Jefferson Parish and the neighbors. Country Day, it took a long, long time for them to finally get lights, and they got it.
Yep.
But it took them a long time because of the neighborhood. JP, it's always politics here in Louisiana. We wish we were like Texas, where they can put their money where their mouth is, and everybody and mama have a stadium that look like a college stadium, just like Allen, Texas.
All right. Before we go, a couple games I do want to talk about. Give us your thoughts. Don't say who you think is going to win, but give us your thoughts on it. I want to start with 2-0 teams that some people probably didn't see being 2-0 this early in the season. That's Slidell coming down to play Warren Easton, VK.
That is going to be a really, really interesting ball game, and I think that's a Thursday or Friday game, one of the two. It's going to be a very, very interesting ball game. Jerry Phillips talked about it after the Saturday win against Kennedy, and he mentioned that Slidell's very, very improved, and he knows that they're not going to take Slidell lightly at all, and they're trying to get them focused and prepared to hopefully play much better than they did against Kennedy.
Peppers.
Warren Easton won that game 31-7 against Kennedy. But in spite of the penalties, 15 for 145 yards. There is a lot of bottom to clean up by Jerry Phillips and that Warren Easton team. They have some exciting pieces. Slidell, I don't think none of us saw 2-0 out of them. We thought they would be better, but 2-0 right out the box, especially winning against Lutcher, in week 1 and then winning again last week. This is a good test. But I feel like if the Eagles clean it up a little bit, you would think with the talent that I was just looking at Charles talking noise. I ain't saying nothing. I'll keep quiet. I'm putting a button on the lip until week 6. But no, I think this is an interesting style matchup. I think it's an interesting style matchup. Slidell North Shore teams like to pound the rock and play physical, and Warren Easton, this is a team that I think they're transitionally really good. They've got a lot of talent. I think Carl Reed showed out Saturday night, had a really good game. I think they ran the ball with great effectiveness. And I think this is an asset test for Slidell. Let's see what they do against this kind of team.
All right. 2 teams looking for their first win. The Landry Buccaneers and the John Ehret Patriots, VK.
Both teams looking for a win. Both teams looking for a win here, and I think more than anything else, I think both Coach Brooks and Coach
Foster.
Tripping. I got stuff all over the place right now. Both coaches gonna prepare their teams to get ready to go. It's gonna be a hard fought game coming up this week for 4 quarters.
Peppers.
Wow. John Ehret's offense has been absolutely listless the first 2 weeks, getting shut out in week 1 and only dropping 7 at Vanderbilt Catholic in week 2. They've got a lot to fix offensively. This is an offense that has not produced, obviously. They're going to have to get it together. Landry, Nick Foster, we always believe that Nick's going to have that team on the trajectory. They've had a couple of tough starts in this early part of the season. So I think the semantics in this game is which team is going to come out with the more confidence. The team that has the more good things happen early, I think, is the team that probably wins this game.
All right. Young audience turning heads, got eyes going side to side, eyebrows raising, people talking about them. But the Livingston Wolves come to town. Coach Deron Francis. This won't be an easy game for young audience, VK.
No, I don't think it's going to be a not easy game at all for young audience. You know what I'm saying? Livingston's a really good team that competes very, very hard. They play a tough schedule in itself. It's going to go down to the wire in this ball game, but at the same time, Yag's going to have a nice advantage with them being the home team more than anything else. So we'll see what happens, but I'll tell you one thing, young audiences has really upped their game, but they're going to have to up it another level going against Livingston. Expect a 4-quarter war.
Peppers.
I still can't get over the fact that they're nicknamed the Yaks. That just mind
Buffalo.
blows me.
It's a
Yeah,
Buffalo.
I know it's a Buffalo, but it's still just on surface for the novices that don't know and don't do research. The name in it of itself, your first thought before you found out it was a Buffalo was that you were thinking they were naming it after the school. Yeah, young audience yaks. It's a young audience charter. With that said, they're gonna have to up their game against Livingston. And Livingston is 1-1. They always schedule tough. They always play good teams. I think this is a defensive war. I feel like defense is going to be the predominant factor here. I think this is an interesting test for both teams. And Coach Francois has a good team there at Livingston. But young audiences, what you said, they were opening eyes and turning their heads. They absolutely are. This is no joke, people. That's a legitimate 2-0 football team. This is going to be a very good football game this week
And that game is at young audience for 4 o'clock, I believe.
on
4 o'clock.
Friday, right?
On Friday, yeah. Young audience doesn't
Okay.
have lights. They don't have lights yet, but that game is at young audience. Let's do one more and we'll call it a night. Pope John Paul II coming down to Riverdale. What can happen in this game? Can Pope John Paul give Riverdale their first loss of the season, or does Riverdale keeps rolling? Will they be able to stop that option via offense of Pope John Paul II? But your thoughts on that, VK?
That's an interesting ball game. That's really a trap ball game more than anything else. Pope John Paul II last year had one of the best seasons they have ever had at the program, and they got a really, really good coach, and they still return a good bit of players from last season. Expect that one to be a game in itself. Either team can win, but it's not gonna be easy for either one, especially for Riverdale. This is not going to be easy. Riverdale is a really good team. They're playing well, but I think this is their first big test.
George?
I don't know. I feel like Riverdale has really popped off in these first 2 weeks. I think this is a tough ask even for PJP to come down to Riverdale. I think with that offense, it does present difficulty. But the Rebels, there are levels to play, and right now Riverdale's level is a little better than Pope John Paul. Um, I feel like they have an advantage. Obviously, Pope John Paul having to come down to the East Bank. It'll be an interesting affair. I think style wise, it's interesting because of what PJP does, Pope John Paul running the veer offense and everything else. I think in style, I think that makes this matchup compelling. But right now, they're based on levels of play. You would think Riverdale has the advantage in this spot.
A lot of talent on that Riverdale team. We saw it last year, and majority of them all came back for this season. All right, ladies and gents, that is it for the Hash It Out show tonight. We are back tomorrow. VK, did you hear anything from Mr. Hank Brady himself?
Yes, I did. He will be joining us tomorrow for 7:15. He'll be joining us tomorrow 7:15, and he will talk about he will break down more of the Car American Heritage Game and also the Inspire the City Invitational that happened on last Friday.
Hank Brady, the voice of the Edna Carr Cougars, will be joining us tomorrow night. Before we get out of here, last words, George Peppers.
First off, I want to give out who won the picks last week, if it's okay with you. Well, who won, or how did we do?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
got
Go
to
ahead.
say,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, because 62-13 is the cumulative record of the three of us last week. That's very good. That's really, really good. Um, but we had a tie last week at 21-4. The two gentlemen up top went 21-4. I went 20-5. So, but in all, great effort in week 2. Let's try to do it again this week in week 3. But last words, that 250 episodes down, many, many more to go. Many more. Where we stop, nobody knows. But I am proud of the fact that we have come this far. And now it's onward and upward, right, JB? Onward and upward. Let's roll.
That's right. Jay, um, more than likely, maybe the playoffs, but we'll see. With a couple of things that's happening over here, we might have to get another one. So we'll see. But definitely, we're looking at playoffs for sure. But you'll definitely know. Just stay tuned to us, and you know when we do another West St. John game. VK, last words.
Appreciate all the support from everybody for supporting the Hash It Out Show. Continue to support us. 250 episodes. It's been a blessing. We'll continue to grow. We'll continue to thrive. Thank to all the sponsors. Thank everybody to continue to do what we do to make us do what we love to do for the kids and for the community and everything else. We're looking forward to the Hash It Out Show's game of the week this week and everything else. And you know what I'm saying, to the New Orleans Saints, Gail Benson, get it together, please, because your product is going down. Trust me, you're gonna have too many takeovers every week. I've seen a whole bunch of Niners fans at the game Sunday, and it's getting ridiculous. But that's what happens when you have a bad product.
No,
You're gonna have to take over to the stadium.
I'm gonna disagree with that part of it. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because I went to the game a few years ago, and the Saints and the 49ers both went to the playoffs, and it was a high scoring game. And it was a game that they threw the ball to George Kittle, and he ran down the field. Nobody could tackle him. Gardner missed the tackle at the line of scrimmage, and the Niners kicked the game-winning field goal. I was at that game, and the Niners fans were in full effect in the dome. So I'm just telling you, every Niners fan that lives in New Orleans, once the Niners started winning again, they came out of hiding. And they show up to the dome. That's what it is. It ain't about the Saints losing, because the Saints have the 20th year of a consecutive sellout, 20 straight years. But, some of them sell those tickets online. And the 49er fans, since they've been winning, and I was at that game, and when I walked in, I was like, God darn. Oh, y'all came out of hiding. Y'all winning now, going to Super Bowls, going to playoffs. I said, oh, yeah, y'all winning now, and y'all coming out and showing y'all faces. And that's what it is. I disagree. It ain't got nothing to do with Gail Benson.
That is true.
And them 49ers fans, they came out of hiding.
That is true, but I'm going to disagree on one reason only. I went to a Saints game last year when they played Denver, when they had the tribute to Drew Brees. It was like almost 70,000 in the dome. I counted almost 30,000 Bronco fans. That's not good. The Niners fans, they are winning, but dude, when you see more Niners fans than Saints, that tells you the product ain't looking good. You're gonna have takeovers every week, dude. It's not good. It's not good at all. You got to improve the product.
I'm not going to take it every week, but I'm comparing
Broncos, like you said,
comparing the 49ers, because those two playoff teams playing each other that went to the playoffs, and just so happened that the freaking 49ers fans that's been hiding in Louisiana, New Orleans, came out. And like Lil Wayne said, before the Saints started winning, they had many Cowboys and 49ers fans here in New Orleans.
That is true. That is true. And the final thing before I pass it on to JB, a big shout out to Cameron. Good job with what you did.
Oh God, you really bringing that? Are you bringing that up on this show? Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
No,
what I seen was professionalism today. Great job, dude.
I understand what he did. I had no problem with it, but that ain't gotta be on here. That's out there. We ain't got to talk about that.
We ain't got to talk about it, but it's the fact of I said it because of professionalism. That's
professionalism, but still, it's something we didn't have to talk about at all.
Oh Lord, Cheese, you're a mess. Look at that.
Yes, I am.
Math ain't mathing.
We know Cheese. We know Cheese. We know.
What was it a few weeks ago, JB? The math part. What was it on the show?
VK math ain't mathing.
When we
the Cheese. Okay, I ain't count 30,000, but let me tell you something. I'm a 3-time journalist winner.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. See,
my English is my strength, baby. That's all I gotta tell you.
Your strength. But today on the show, you said they did what they did, or he had to. He said they had to do what they did, and I was like, no, it's they. Do what they did, or did what they did.
Do what they do.
You don't even know either. Now he know.
That's that public school education.
And then he always say you seen or I seen, but it's like no, it's saw. It's saw. is you have seen, or I have seen.
Man,
Man.
Man,
we-
you ain't questioning. Man, let me tell you something. I'm a three-time
I ain't
journalist
questioning.
winner. I'm a three-time
You
award
about to go
winner.
there? I ain't questioning. I ain't
I'm-
questioning. Well, you want me to go there? You want to go there?
I ain't gonna go there. Let's be
All
quiet.
right,
Let's be quiet on that.
chicken.
All I know, I am a three-time journalistic winner, three-time award winner. That's all I gotta say. My strength is in English, Mr. Cheese. That's it. Not bad.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're back tomorrow with Hank Brady, and we're gonna do our picks. All right, so y'all make sure y'all tune in. Tell everybody about it. Yeah, Austin. Yeah, VK something else. We know. Oh God.
Mental math. Oh wow, that's cold. That is cold. I did not think that would be.
It's okay, VK.
Damn,
It's all right, brother. I got your back, VK. Don't worry, bro. I got your back.
way back.
Yeah. All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow. Like I said, Hank Brady joins us tomorrow to talk about the end of car American Heritage game. And then we're gonna do our picks as well. So make sure y'all tune in. We want you all here for that. For VK Jones, for George Peppers, I am JB, the sports guy. Hey, tune in tomorrow. Tune in Thursday for Patrick Taylor versus St. Martin's, and tune in Friday for Terrebonne versus St. James. And there's still a chance we may have a Saturday game that was on our original schedule. Still a chance. Just stay tuned to us. We're going to let you all know if we have that game or not. But just stay tuned. We'll see y'all tomorrow, Thursday and Friday for sure. Y'all take care.
At Bayou AV Security, we are your one-stop shop for all your needs, whether it's enhancing your home entertainment system, securing your property, ensuring a seamless internet connection, or illuminating your outdoor spaces. We've got you covered. Bayou AV Security, where technology meets reliability. Call us today to experience the Bayou difference.
Bucks No Whiz was the place to go as a kid growing up to get snowballs. As an adult now, it is still the place to go. When you want some of the best snowballs and some of the best customer service, Bucks No Whiz is the place. Now, excuse me, let me get back to my half grape, half pink lemonade snowball. Bucks No Whiz, located at 1508 Barataria Boulevard in Marrero, Louisiana. Hey parents and coaches, want your young athlete to go far on and off the field? Kumon of Gretna is the place for you. Whether it's reading plays or calculating scores, early literacy and math skills teach focus, discipline, and decision making. Give your student athlete the edge. Start early, start smart at Kumon of Gretna.
If you're looking for the best pizza in Metro New Orleans, then you're in the right place. Moe's Pizza has a great selection of Italian food that can satisfy your appetite, and they can also cater to your needs in any event. Give them a call at 504-341-9650 or log on to www.moespizzanola.com, located at 1112 Avenue H in West Wego, Louisiana. Moe's Pizza, Italians do it better.
Hi, I'm Erica Randolph, head coach of the Hahnville Tigers boys basketball team, and you are watching The Hash It Out Show.
Thank you for watching the Hash It Out Show. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.